I was born in Hackney, which is the east end of London, in 1924. I've got a problem with a cancer that I've had for the last 15 years. I'm a long-term survivor. In fact, with the Gleason score that I've got, I'm the longest survivor in the world with 15 years. The anti-cancer drug is a male suppressant, so the side effect for it makes you feel very, very tired. Oh, I've had a wonderful life. I've had a full life. I've been to something like 80 different countries, and I've lived in 6 of them. So I've had a broad experience of living, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. My wife and I, we're the best of friends. We've got 3 sons who we see regularly, and we both enjoy our lives.
Despite the cancer, Eric at age 85 lives a happy and able life. But like many New Zealanders, when his health deteriorates, he wants the option of legalised voluntary euthanasia.
And I accept that sooner or later it will either spread or I'll walk under a bus or have a heart attack. It's just towards the end of life. I don't like the prospect of going through a long protracted term of dying and being dependent. Once I know that the end is near, I would like to be able to take my own life, and preferably with the assistance of a close relative. But that's not allowed, you see. Assisted suicide is a crime. I only believe that euthanasia should be purely voluntary, but only for those people that are extremists, to save them suffering. And the Right to Life people will tell you that people don't suffer, there are painkillers. Well, they don't always work. I've watched several friends die. It wasn't a happy death.
In 2004, Leslie Martin was convicted of attempting to murder her terminally ill mother. She served half of a 15-month prison sentence, and following her release, Leslie founded the Dignity New Zealand Trust.
Now, I'm always encouraged and uplifted by people like Eric who are prepared, to stand up and be counted, and that's more than a lot of other people are prepared to even do. Voluntary euthanasia is one of those issues which is very sensitive. Many people who support it within the medical profession, nursing profession, within clergy, churches, within hospice itself, the palliative care providers, many people support it. But because it is so emotionally and legally sensitive, many people are scared to be visible.
We'd like to think in palliative care that we're able to manage suffering so that there isn't that desperation. And that's the aim of palliative care, so people don't become desperate. But there are a group of people whose quality of life is such that no matter what you're able to do medically, they still suffer.
To me, it's all about quality, not quantity. Once you've come to the end of the line, well, why prolong it?
When it comes to euthanasia, doctors are bound by medical ethics. But the results of a confidential survey shows 50% of the doctors surveyed ticked they would be open to, or already have, administered euthanasia.
I think euthanasia shouldn't be seen as a sign of defeat, but I'm not sure whether we're there yet in New Zealand to embrace it.
Well, it doesn't bother me. I've made up my own mind. I couldn't give a fish's tip what anybody else thinks. My life is my choice, my business. So simple as that.
Eric wants a cheap chipwood coffin, no funeral, and a notice in the press. He is prepared for his end.
The bag goes over my head. Goes round the neck like so. Right, just relax, and by that time you're nearly asleep, or you should be. I would be, certainly.
Whatever you want to call these backyard techniques, I mean, we just don't want to see that. It's desperation and isolation, and I think that's where palliative services, with not just relying on a doctor, but relying on a range of health professionals to help those people, it is a failure of the system.
We understand that because there isn't legislation in place, people are drawn to those methods and that information because they don't have a legitimate alternative. However, we know that in due course, when our vision for Dignity Havens becomes a reality, then people won't need to turn to those kind of desperate measures.
That's a terrible way to see people having to end their lives. And as health professionals, we've just got to do better.
My firm conviction is that it's up to the individual, freedom of choice. And when I go, I want to be able to make my own decision. When my quality of life becomes intolerable, and I know there's no further help for me, then I'm prepared to resort to my sleeping pills, the plastic bag, and go quietly to sleep and not wake up again. Doesn't bother me at all.
I'm on the receiving end of a disturbing number of phone calls from people who are either failing in their attempt, and so they're distraught, they're stricken, and it's a botched attempt.
In 2003, the Death with Dignity Bill was defeated and thrown out by a narrow 2 votes. Dignity New Zealand's regional meetings have a strong focus on getting another bill drafted and back into Parliament.
Well, to me it's the only way of expressing the view of those of us who want a choice of living or dying in a dignified manner without, if they bring in legislation for voluntary euthanasia, where you can be assisted to die instead of dying by some bizarre fashion such as cutting your throat or hanging yourself. I'd never contemplate any one of those things. And what Leslie Martin has done is put forward a set of protocols which, when put into legal language, into the form of a bill, will allow people the choice in a dignity haven, which is basically the same as what hospice offers now, which will have the choice of palliative care or assistance with a quick exit.
Eric thinks it, Leslie thinks it, and according to a 2008 Colmar Brunton poll, 71% of New Zealanders think it.
I think the law is an ass, and it has to be altered.
Do I think people should have the right to determine how they end their lives? Yes.
I don't want to suffer, and I've seen enough suffering in war and so-called peace. I'm not frightened of death. I'm frightened of dying.